How many websites do you actually need to make great money with this business model in the digital real estate, local lead generation, rank and rank, call it what you will. I like to call it rent then rank. How many websites do you actually need to make great money? And the idea for this video came because somebody asked me, they said, Nick, how many websites do you currently have under management? How many websites do you have? And the answer that I would give you, or the answer that I'm going to give you, or I would tell you if we were talking, is way different than how many you should need. And that's because of the way that I did it, the mistakes that I made. And I want to explain that in this video. So when I got into this business model, when I got into rank and rent, which by the way, I emphasize it like that because rank and rent indicates that you build a website, you rank it, and then you try and rent it out, right? And there's so many things that are flawed with this. In my opinion, this is an old, antiquated, blockbuster wheelchair method. And I think you're crazy for doing it. I could list a million reasons why, not a million, but probably 10. And I have videos that will explain all of this. I could go into more detail, and I will go into more detail, but that's the only thing I knew. I didn't know it was possible that you could literally go and you could, spin up a one pager, run some ads, get a couple calls, close a deal, get a credit card, and then build it out, but already have money coming in, already be turning a profit. I didn't know this was possible. I thought it was only rank and rent. And at the time, the advice that I got was this. And by the way, to be fair, this advice was sound advice because where I learned the training that I got, they didn't have this method. They didn't know this method. And so I'm not shitting on anyone's parade. This is the advice that I got. And it's if you're going to do the rank and rent model, if you're going to rank first and then rent, this is just the reality. And so the advice I got was, hey, look, Nick, if you build, they basically were saying, hey, the math will work if you build 10 websites and only 30% of these websites, so let's say out of 10, 7 of them don't even work, then the math still works. And let me show you the profit margins. Let me show you how much money you're going to make. And let me show you how much money you're going to profit and how much you spend on those other 7 websites. And even if only 30% make it, you are still going to win, and you're going to win handsomely. And I don't disagree. And that's exactly what I did. And I built website after website after website. At one point, we had well over 200 websites. Okay. Now, to some of you, that seems absolutely absurd. To some of you, that doesn't seem like anything because I personally know people that are in this model that have come from similar programs that have 800 websites, 800 websites that got the same advice as I did. It said, hey, if 30% work, and they looked at it and they did the math, they said, hey, I'm going to put all this on a credit card and I'm going to go build, and it should work out, right? So I know people that have built far more than me, but some of you guys might think I'm crazy. But at one point I had over 200, maybe even closer to 300, well over 200 websites under management, okay? And the reason why is because I knew that if I did the rank and rent model, there was a certain percentage that I wasn't going to be able to rank. Like it was going to be so much work that I just wasn't going to be able to rank it and I was going to have to scrap it. So I knew there was that. I also knew there was going to be websites that I ranked and I thought were going to get leads, but there weren't that many leads. There was just not that much business in that city. And I also knew there were going to be some websites that I ranked, I got leads, and there were business owners that weren't hungry, that had tons of work, they were fat and happy, whatever. And that was also going to factor in. And so in my head, 200 websites, okay, well, if I have 200 websites and 30%, let's say I got 60 is a good number. If I can charge $1,200 a month, $1,500 a month, that can get me to that $100,000 a month mark. But I'm here to tell you guys, you don't need 200 websites. You don't need anything close to 200 websites. If I was starting over today, knowing what I know, knowing that you can go and you can pre-sell the deals, you can go and set up a simple ad, get some calls, do the deal, put a contract in place, and then build it out. Guys, it depends on what you consider great money. If we call it great money, $10,000 net, you're probably going to want to get to, if you're starting off, you're going to want to make between $15,000 and $20,000 gross so that you can net $10,000. And that's from the beginning because you're going to have your ad costs and you're going to have everything else. But if you want to net, that means put $10,000 in your pocket. I'm not saying, some of you guys are like, that's not great money. I also agree that's not great money. That's a great starting point. You're going to need to get between $15,000 and $20,000 because you are going to have overhead. Okay. Now, the beautiful part about doing the rent first and then rank is your overhead cannot get any higher, right? You're already spending money on the ads. So the only way it can go is down, your overhead, and your profits can only go up. So that same $15,000 to $20,000 that you're making gross can now turn into $13,000 net once your websites start to rank. And that's the exciting part. But the reality is this, guys. if you set a standard and say, I'm not going to take anything less than $1,000 a month, and I would honestly say even more, maybe $1,500 a month. If you set that standard and say, that's the minimum I'm going to take, then you do the math. You do the math. You do not need that many websites. You don't even need 10 websites to make $10,000 a month, right? Now that's gross. Now, if we're talking about 15 to 20,000, maybe you're 10 to 12 websites at a decent price point if you're at $1,500 a month. But 20 websites is far less than 200 websites. It's far less in hosting. It's far less in phone tracking. It's far less in content. It's far less in resources and time spent building the actual property. And that's the exciting part about it. So guys, I took this very different approach when I started, and I was like, build, asset, not knowing a lot of the stuff I was building was shit and it was going to be impossible to sell. Now, and what I did in 2020 when I scaled is I only built assets that I had paying clients for. And so if I was sitting down and I was buying a domain, I wasn't even using my money. I was using the money that somebody else had paid me for that website to rent that website. And so who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. So it went from, let's build 10 so that 3 can work to I'm building 10 because 10 are working because I have 10 paid clients. So the answer is there's no exact answer because it depends on how much you charge and it depends on a lot of factors, but not that many at all, especially compared to what some of you that are watching this that are already doing rank and rent that are realizing, oh my gosh, I can rent first and then rank. You don't need nearly as many websites as I needed to get to $100,000 or to get to $10,000 or to get to $50,000. You just need to get good deals, clean deals, and you need to use their money to build out those properties. So the moral of this entire story, and the reason I'm bringing this up is a lot of people go in and go, well, besides the ads, what are my overhead costs? Well, you got your phone tracking number and you got your hosting. Okay, but guess what? You ain't paying for it. You're not going to do that. You're not going to build that until you get the deal, until you get the client, and you're going to use the client's money to pay for those things. So the only thing that you really have to pay for are the ads to get the deal. Now, some of you guys that are a little bit better closers are going to spend less money because you're not going to have to do as many appointments. And some of you guys that are not as good at closers are going to spend a little bit more money. But at the end of the day, after 1-2 months, and maybe in the worst case scenario, 3 months, you've broken even on all of your ad spend. And now you're already in the green. You're already making money and you're using their money, AKA the client's money, to build out the property. So guys, you don't need that much money. This is a very lean business model, very simple, very lean, very stupid simple. And all you have to do is follow the process and do it. Now, am I saying that it's going to be easy? Of course not. If it was easy, it'd be a scam. But am I saying that it's simple? Yes, I am saying it is simple. I've seen people that are retired 70 plus. We have somebody in our program right now that's just turned 17. He was 16 until a couple weeks ago, 17 years old. He's already banged out a couple deals. He's making at least $1,500 from the one deal. He's making at least over with the next deal that he got. According to what I've heard, he is now making at least, should be over $2,000. So shout out to you, Mr. Aaron Vogler. I'm giving you a quick little shout out. He's crushing it. He's a 16-year-old kid. So guys, this is a simple business model. It shouldn't be easy. We shouldn't expect it to be easy. We're expecting this to change our life. We're expecting this to get us out of the situation we're in. We're expecting for this to allow us to travel and to get out of debt and to have the house and to have the cars and to have the this and to have the that. And so we shouldn't expect it to be easy. We should expect there's going to be work and look at it as if there's work, if it's challenging, if it's hard, it's going to drive people out, and the people that persevere are the ones that are going to win. So guys, you don't need that many websites. It's very lean, but you need to do it. Rent first, rank later. If you're going to do rank and then rent, I don't know what to tell you. Just get ready to build a lot of websites.